Nobody's crying. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this fabulous Wednesday morning, the last Wednesday of the month, last week of the month. This is Friday is quite the day. It's a perfect Halloween day.
Yeah.
Nobody has to go anywhere on Saturday. Well, except for us, but you know, most people don't have to go anywhere on Saturday. So let's get rolling. All right. Ooh, look at the scary bid room, spider webs and all today. I wonder who did that. Where that came from. Nice work. All right. Our team, we've got me and we have Aaron over there working away. Got Jared joining us from Estimating Central. Masood is on the road today. Sandy is here in the office. Heather is working remote today. And of course, we have lovely Allison Dean in here making all our lives way more festive. Our mission, 100 contractors to 10 million in annual revenue by 2035. Collaboration is the new currency. Brandon Dawson. Brandon is a business building expert. He sold his business for one of the highest valuations ever. And the company that bought him used his technology to go from 1 billion to 4.5 billion in 36 months. He now is partnered with Grant Cardone, and he runs Cardone Enterprises. This guy is a powerhouse, and almost everything we do in here has been influenced by Brandon. And we keep doing everything we can to model, master, and mimic this guy. So let's move it on. Oh, look at this. Steady focus, solid results. Estimating stats for the year. We are at $137 million, 134 estimates. We have been awarded 17 of those projects. We have won $3 million in 2025. And that number is sitting really close to getting moved up by another 4 million. We've got 3 projects right now that are 95% there, not inked, but we should be seeing those results in the next 2 weeks. So we are very excited about where we ended up this year and going into next year with a really solid backlog of great work with really good clients. See, what are we bidding? We're bidding Bidwell Community Center. I believe this job was supposed to bid this week, but it has now moved to November 6th. So if you are interested in teaming up with us on this project, the bid details have been sent out. I believe Sandy's going to send them out again today. If you don't get a bid package, email us at info@southbaygrading.com and we will make sure to get you there. All right, Cal Ranch barrier. We had our first barrier pour last week, and we are going back next week to get started on the other side. This is a Shea Homes project with Oak Mount Concrete, and this has been a really good job. It's a great client, and we are bidding another Shea project today. So Shea Homes, they are really, really great to work with. They're a little hard. They don't let you get away with nothing, but they are a good client. Blossom Hill Public Storage. We are on the final strokes of that job. Paving is getting wrapped up. There is a slurry seal happening tomorrow and striping the following week. This was our first project with Tilton. We've had a lot of great help on this job. We've got Aero Asphalt and Concrete out there right now, and Dinsmore Landscaping getting this thing all polished up and ready to sell. Cypress retaining wall. We got a fork in that one. It is complete. Turned out really, really nice. Again, good work by Oak Mount Concrete. They did the retaining wall, they did all the backfill and the pavers. Fantastic job. Couldn't be happier with the results. All right, Aaron, tales from the front.
Well, let's see here. Excuse me. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing internally here. We have all or are in the process of doing a R3 assessment. It's a personality profile to kind of see what our strengths and I guess you could call them weaknesses, what our strengths are and how we communicate with other people to better understand our team. We've also all committed to doing a 2-week time audit. As you guys may have heard me talk about in the past, all my time card is broken up into 15-minute chunks. I don't think you have to get that crazy about it, but that's just what I do. Everyone here is doing the same thing to a certain level. So I think what this is going to do for us when we look back 2 weeks to audit our time is understand what amount of time things are taking, and we can compare it to what our assumptions have been and to manage expectations. And then also it's going to help us, I think, to zoom in on, okay, so you can kind of break your day, think of it as like a photometric or telescopic lens, zooming out. You've got, what am I doing in the next hour? What does the rest of my day look like? What do I want to get done this week? What's happening this month? What's happening by year's end? And what's the 3 to 5 to 10 year goal? So if you can take your work life and your personal life too, really in snapshots and timeframes like that, you can start to understand where you're trending towards, and on the lower timeframes, if you're working towards that macro goal. So that's kind of it. We're doing a little reflection backwards so that we can project into 2026 and, you know, revise SOPs, job descriptions, and understand what the costs are associated with all of our office work and field work.
So we put a lot of emphasis on finding efficiencies, and a big part of this has been our commitment to doing these time audits. I started doing them about 2 years ago, and every time I do one, I find places where I am spending time that is not creating value. So it's important to do that. The other thing with the Cardone Ventures Group is they're very big on building a culture and making sure that there is alignment with your team and your company. So as the company wins, they win. As they win, the company wins. And understanding personalities is huge. I think anybody who's ever worked at a large corporation has done one of these tests in the past. And it's interesting what it reveals about yourself. And it also, more importantly, helps you to understand how to communicate with your team members and make sure that people are on the same page. So really excited about everything we got going on in this room. Couldn't be more proud of this team. And with that, speaking of team, we've got Wendy Walker from Asure, who has been helping us with our HR needs.
Hello, thank you very much for letting me spend a few minutes. I absolutely love working for South Bay Grading. Thank you for finding a not current picture. It's an old picture, so I'm very appreciative of that. So Aaron had just asked if I could just share a little bit about what HR, Assure HR is about, what we are as opposed to being in-house HR, and how we are helping a lot of small and even medium-sized businesses deal with some pitfalls and very expensive fines that come up, penalties, lawsuits from employees or government agencies who can file lawsuits themselves on behalf of employees, and just the heavy time and effort and labor costs that goes along with managing human resources for a company. Our experience, and mine especially in HR, is much less of the corporate experience and more about tactical, even guerrilla HR in the field, where and most of the U.S. is small business, right? So that's really where the most need is for people like us. I used to be an in-house HR manager for it is a lot of California for roofing and food manufacturing and product manufacturing and things like that. So it's mostly a lot of our experience is with employers that are maybe mostly privately owned, often family owned. Smaller organizations where they can't, not only can they not afford to have their own dedicated HR representative, but they don't need full-time help in this area. And also, when you have in-house HR, you have to pay additional cost for them to be able to spend the time to research employment laws that are coming down the pipe. You know, being a California employer, they're coming all the time, and they're starting to happen not just at the beginning of the year, but mid-year, sometimes as responses to what's going on in the federal government. So there's fur flying everywhere between federal and state governments in terms of new employment laws. And somebody needs to be watching all this and letting you know what can I ignore and what applies to me as a business owner, as a supervisor, and at times as an employee. So that's really a big part of what we do. So we do things like creating an employee handbook. We look at your job application. Is it compliant? Are you asking for a social security number? Are you asking for dates that could violate California's age discrimination law? We're just trying to bubble wrap, for lack of a better word, bubble wrap companies to be able to keep you safe from any kind of lawsuits or government penalties. But often the compliance with these laws leads to more efficiencies in how you manage your employee data, how you manage your employee files, and even how you manage your employees, so that you can have faster, more efficient workflow processes when it comes to your employees. We do training for managers that are in the field, that have day jobs, that are not sitting in front of a desk all day, perhaps, where they can't conveniently ask an employee to sit down and talk to them about their performance. How to be able to create some customized coaching plans to get better performance out of your labor dollars. Each one of your employees is a set of skills and productivity and output you need to run the business, right? So often we are not actively managing those labor dollars and that performance. And so one part of what we do is compliance, but the other part is getting more bang for your buck with your labor dollars, and also making sure that you're not accepting poor performance or poor behavior that could be ruining your business, and also that could be jeopardizing your business. So in a nutshell, that's really kind of how we do what we do. Um, and so maybe I can just ask a few questions. Is everyone familiar with California minimum wage going up in January 1st? Okay, I see heads nodding. And we know too that it's different in different regions. Santa Clara is going to go up to 1870 for minimum wage. San Jose will be 1845. We know that you may have employee populations that are way above minimum wage that get paid more than that, but your labor posters have to be updated. Believe it or not, even if all of your employees are way above minimum wage, your labor poster has to have that right minimum wage on there, and you need somebody to help you get that updated. If you don't, then when you have if you have a disgruntled employee or just an auditor in the neighborhood that wants to come in and check these things, you can actually get fines for this, even though it's not relevant to your particular employees. So these are some of the little gotchas that can happen. We also see a big one with I-9 forms. That I-9 is the thing when you start work that you've got to produce documentation that we usually think of it just as proving that you're eligible to work in the US. But the other half of the I-9 process is proving identity. This is a massive thing right now, right? That's going on in the news and that businesses are dealing with when they're getting either ICE raids or just increased I-9 audits. They're incredibly expensive. One small error on a form, the minimum fine is over $200. Multiply that even by 5, you can lose $1,000 just for having a minor problem with a form. So we help train the people that are doing the I-9s on how to do them correctly. We are on demand. There's myself as a consultant that partners directly with clients. And then we have a business partner team. So really you're hiring an HR team that you can call or email and say, can I accept this document? Or what do I do? The employee showed up and they don't have any documents. What do I have to do? And what can I do? We can help you know the differences in those laws. There's going to be in 2026, there's a new law that says employees have to be able to have access to any education and training records in addition to their employee file. And this we're thinking is going to be a big headache for businesses that do maybe training where they may or may not have a sign-up sheet that says all these employees attended this training and it may not be kept in an employee file. This has to be organized in such a way that you can have employees be able to look in and find out where they signed up, what their training records were. So it's another kind of administrative headache where a lot of businesses in California are going to need some help, how to be able to be compliant with the minimum effort possible. In February 2026, there's going to be a new Know Your Rights poster with more employee protections. So again, there's got to be somebody that's looking out to be able to make sure the posters are updated, that you can't get fined, and also that you know and your supervisors know what topics to avoid, how to approach certain topics, what to say, what not to say. We aren't all born knowing this. We have to be trained on what to avoid. And also, when you have problems, say a difficult employee that is toxic, you're trying to get rid of them, but you're trying to not get sued. How do I do this? There's always a way to do that, but there's a wrong way to do it, where you could open yourself up for a lawsuit. There's also ways to coach employees from bad to good, or at least put that effort in and be able to document the things you're doing. There's a significant minority of times that employees can change from bad to good, with training, documentation, talk to me, tell me what's going on. Just that opening can sometimes save the investment you've made in an employee, but you just need some help working through that with the employee. In March of 2026, employers are going to have to allow employees to have a designated contact for arrests or detentions that the employee experiences. This is very much related to ICE. But where this also happens is if you hear from a coworker that somebody's been arrested, the onus is on the employer to then contact that designated person to let them know. So there's an awful lot of pressure on California employers. And so that's again where we help sort through what you have to do, and here's an easy way to do it. That's what we're looking to do. What I'll also do is I'm going to put this together in kind of a reference form, the most common California and federal laws and what's upcoming that we know of in 2026, and be able to give you a reference sheet so that you'll be able to look for these things directly. If any of you have any questions, for instance, you're supposed to do California sexual harassment training every 2 years. 1 year for 1 hour for employees, 2 hours for supervisors or owners. You may go 20 years and not do it, but if you have one sexual harassment claim and they look for, okay, show us your training records. If you don't have them, then you could have a claim of negligence on top of the sexual harassment claim. So again, I think HR is kind of part life insurance for a company, but also it's helping you, again, be able to better control the outcomes and the output of your employees. You're hiring them for a reason. It's making sure that they are performing to your expectations. So that's also a big part of what we do. So are there any questions that I can answer or any thoughts coming up?
I have a quick thought. I just want to say to everyone on here, Wendy has helped South Bay Grading through a couple complicated HR situations. And there was a lot that I didn't know, and she's a huge resource for that. Super easy to work with, very available and willing to help. And the stuff's all kind of new to me. Long gone are the days where you can just say, "Get out, you're fired." That's not no more of that, So anyone who's trying to build a business, definitely want to keep this in mind. I think is the HR, do you have to, at one employee, you have to have HR? Is that as of the 2026, or is that already in?
It had to do with offering benefits.
Offering benefits. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which then you kind of need HR for that.
Right.
So, I mean, from the business owner standpoint, I can tell you that, HR is something that can consume a ton of your time.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't know how to do it. So, we're reading a book right now called Buy Back Your Time. And, in 2.5 hours of my time, pays for the program that we have with Asure. So, the idea is go find somebody that already knows how to do it and have them do it. And, Wendy's been awesome. She's super available. And, there are a lot of things happening in 2026, as she said. I mean, this is the scariest thing I've seen since last Halloween. It's there's a lot, and it's what you don't know that gets you in trouble. But even more than that, it's the amount of time and energy and effort it takes to go try to figure this stuff out. Pay somebody who knows what they're doing. If you're not at a $50 million a year business and you don't need somebody full time, go find somebody that you can pay a fee to and get the things done that need to get done, to make sure that you're doing everything you can to insulate your business from from theft, essentially. So.
That's a good way to say it, Sean. I mean, thank you for the kind words too. You guys are also a big part of making things work. But also, I mean, when you think about it, when you start a business, when you apply for a business license, they don't hand you a manual and say, here are all the laws that you're responsible for, and here's how to be compliant. It's good luck. Hope you don't get fined. They don't even say that, right? And there really ought to be something that is a lot simpler to be able to know what your responsibilities are as an employer. And they're merciless when it comes to assessing fines and penalties. There really is a bias against employers. It's demonstrated by us in California and some other states that we're here to protect employees, and we assume the employer's taking advantage of an employee. Sure, that happens sometimes, and that's why there's employment laws in place. So there are interpretations of employment laws. Certainly, unemployment is almost a given in California, and it doesn't have to be that way. It's just, again, with a little bit of protection, paying, as Sean said, somebody to review this for you, so that we can take as little time as possible from you or your support staff, give you some proactive training, and then just be there on demand when you have situations, not if, but when you have situations that come up. And then as more time develops, then you start getting a muscle memory when it comes to dealing with your employees. And again, it's not tolerating bad behavior or bad performance. It's knowing how to get it out of your company so you can focus on your business.
Well said. So, hiring people is extremely necessary if you're going to build something big. Hiring the right people is essential in, getting there faster. And, you'll, as business owners, especially when we're starting out, we kind of, those first few employees are almost family, and sometimes you'll be surprised at the people who will take advantage. So I know it's not easy to do, but it's a lot easier if you got a partner. So I would encourage you guys, as you start to bring on employees, look for somebody to help you with that side of it, so you can stay focused on building your business. All right, Wendy, thank you so much for sharing. If anybody needs to get a hold of Wendy, her information was up, but if you want to drop it in the chat as well, that'd be great. All right, where are we going? We are going to Neighborhood Hands this Saturday, dark 30, 7:30 a.m. We have our bi-weekly gathering. We will have a work hour followed by a resource fair. The resource fair is been growing steadily over the last 2 years. I think on average now there's I want to say about 20 resource providers that are showing up every other week to give services to the community. So if you are interested, please just show up. There's no barrier to entry. It's early, but you get there, you get to do some good, and you get away, and you still got the rest of your Saturday. So definitely encourage you guys, if you've noticed the problem and you're not really sure how to help, just show up. These guys have been doing this for, I think, 4 years now, and the impact that they're having is significant. So appreciate you guys showing up to this. Aaron's been out there for the last 6 months now.
I haven't been counting, but yeah,
feels like forever, but
picking up out there.
Marie has been out, has been a faithful supporter through LaborMax, and Scotty with Whitecap, they have donated water for these events. So we really enjoy being able to be a part of this. So if you guys are interested and you want more information, you can contact Sandy at southbaygrading.com. All right. What's next? What do we got?
Words
Ooh.
of wisdom.
The wisdom nuggets. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself and spiders. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely
Yes,
Spider
Allison
Queen.
Dean. This is by Allison Dean.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, definitely the spiders.
That's an important quote.
Yeah.
Yes.
And spiders.
Yes, yes.
Book club, we are in the 4th chapter of Buy Back Your Time with Dan Martell. If you would like to be a part of this, please contact Sandy at southbaygrading.com and she'll get you on our list. That happens at 8:45 on Wednesdays on the back of our bid room meeting. All right, the only way you fail is to quit, so don't quit. What are we gonna do?
Keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
Thank you.
Ooh, something new.
Ooh.
Nice.
I don't know if anybody noticed, but my wife's favorite holiday is Halloween, and I'm pretty sure even ahead of Christmas.
Yeah.
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 All right, guys. Thank you, everybody who showed up. Appreciate you spending the time with us. Does anybody have anything they want to add before we jump out of this? All right, fantastic. Again, appreciate you guys showing up on Wednesdays. Can't wait to see you again next month.
Salud.